Hello, friends, one and all. Welcome to another episode of Enviroboy Plays, the name which I gave myself years ago and have yet to have a good reason to change ever. But you can also just call me Scott. We're playing Potion Craft today, as long as my computer doesn't freeze up and spaz out. Alright, no, we're good. Great, yeah, we're playing Potion Craft. We're gonna see if we can stepwise get ourselves even just a little bit closer to ever actually beating this game. We'll see how well that pans out. We still have quite a bit of popularity. I have to get to level 15, which is just insane. So I'm at 13 and I'm only at 89 of 400. This is gonna take forever, but we're also working on making all of our potions. Oh, I don't need that one. I needed this one, yeah. Working on making all of our potions, which I'm kind of tempted to just kind of beeline and get through this, because this is our last thing that we need to create, and then we can just make potions and get popular, and that's just kind of a process of going through the tedium. So I think this is what we'll do. Just make ourselves some potions here. Doesn't matter which one. We can do Rage, Fear, Enlargement, Curse, and Necromancy, and I suppose this one's kind of like the potion of the undead Godzilla, with all of the rage and fear associated with being a enlarged creature that is both cursed and also brought from the dead. Would Godzilla ever count as... I don't know enough about the Godzilla war. The Godzilla lore, world of Godzilla, to know if he I don't think he dies in any of the movies. I think that kind of goes counter to the point of Godzilla, in that he mostly just persists and does Godzilla things. I don't know it well enough. I'm sure plenty of people out there can thoroughly mock me for exactly that. I'm just going to use up a bunch of these to get ourselves up to the rage bit of the potion there, and we'll go die heavily as though this is the most beleaguered I've ever been playing this game, and there's no reason for me to be that way. This is entirely my decision to play this game. The people are not indeed clamoring for this. Maybe they should be, but they're not. But it's fine. We just go around and we make potions. It's not beleaguered, it's just... Actually, wait, hold on, I don't want this. We need to do something else here. We need to... Sure, this one... Actually, this one probably will work better just because we have so much of it to spare. Get ourselves some extra stuff. The world is exhausting. We're kind of in the air around us is recovering. We were surrounded by wildfire smoke for a few days there, and it took us a little while, but we got ourselves clear of that. Not from anything in particular that we did. We just, the weather changed, and so did the smoke movements and stuff. Probably like wind and air inversion, but please ignore the fact that this is in many ways my career, and I should probably have a more intimate knowledge of how this stuff works, but at the end of the day, that would require me to put on my work brain, and that's not at all what I'm going to be doing while I'm sitting here playing games on a Saturday. That's just not how I or anyone else operates. Not if you're a healthy, well-adjusted individual with a proper respect for what work is and or should be, which is that it should just be exactly something you do a few hours during the week to earn your keep and then go home. And anyone who says otherwise is probably someone who doesn't actually work and just owns the business and makes other people work for them. They're the ones that are trying to convince you that it's more than just a paycheck. And I don't know, I guess there are some jobs that are a passion out there, but it's certainly not the situation I'm presently privy to. This is gradually spiraling into a more depressing rant and episode, and never set out for it to be, but sometimes them's the breaks, I guess. Oh, jeez. So I'm gonna need to hop over that. I wish I had like a mirror image or like this. Actually, if we do this, and like if we go here, if we get this put in. And then one of our salts here, is it this one? Yeah, if we do just a tiny bit of this one to have ourselves miss the horrible stuff. Oh, small glitch there. It's fine, though. Get our experience. It's critical. We have to get the experience. Everybody knows. This will get us clear. Perfect. Crush up this stone that we have an outrageous amount of. Can you imagine if things were as simple in real life as they are in a game such as this? Just like, yeah, just go into the cave where these valuable crystals that can, you know, do all kinds of magical things. They just grow on the walls. You don't even need to water them. It's just a cave. It's just a cave. They just hang out there in the cave. And I know there's probably people who are like, well, I grow crystals out of water and chemicals in a petri dish, and it's my hobby. And it's like, that's really cool for you, and it's fun, but let's not act like you're selling those for outrageous amounts. If it were that easy, then it wouldn't actually, well, like, it is that easy, and that's why they're not worth a lot, because everyone can just do it. So, like, you know, the get rich quick crowd out there would look at that and be like, there's got to be a way to monetize it, and then immediately stop doing it when they realize it doesn't monetize to the extent that they think it is. I have an outrageous number of these boomerang bananas here. It is kind of shocking to me just how many of these things we have just floating around. I suppose if they're meant to be a facsimile of real life bananas, then they grow in a bunch, and bananas are a really good example actually of exactly what we're talking about with supply and demand concepts right here, because everybody loves bananas, but the fact is we have so many of them. Even as they talk about fungus threatening the different banana species, yet somehow we manage to make it so that bananas cost absolutely nothing, and it's because we have so many of them that we ship them out and have like 8 billion of them sitting there before they're even ripe. They're just green bananas sitting there, and everyone's like, maybe there's health benefits to it, and try to find some reason to continue to sell those to us. Why not? Yeah, okay. And it's great. I don't mean to disparage bananas either. Everything I say today has just this air of me being critical and disparaging, and I suppose it's a problem with me. It's not my intention. I haven't been setting out to do that, but it's apparently where my mind is at. And, you know, we all have these days, I guess, where we're just sitting here and recognizing the futility of everything we do and trying to make peace with it, even though there's really, you know, just nothing else to do except think about the inevitability of our own depression and disappointment. Anyways, we're gonna crush up some mushrooms now. So stupid. Oh, man. We're halfway done with one potion. We've been sitting here for 8 minutes. As one knows, these potions, it's a shame that we're using these potions to make this particular salt that, I'm gonna be honest, I don't even actually know what this potion is good for. It's presumably something spectacular. It's like the life potion or whatever. But with as complicated as it is to make, one would think that maybe we could, you know, sell this for quite a bit. Although that's not always a guarantee. We were just, you know, as we're discussing concepts, apparently I'm all about figuring out ways to profiteer off life. But, like, as we're sitting here thinking about, you know, if things are easy, then they're not worth much, and if things are difficult, they're worth a bit more. But even that's not really foolproof, because I can think of a lot of complicated things that I could just sort of make up on the spot to do with my time, and would result in weird stuff, and that most people would look at it and say that's just garbage that you produced, and I have zero interest in that. I can think of a lot of ways to do that. In many ways, I'm just describing, you know, like a child's first attempts at art and stuff like that, where it's like we give them accolades for the effort, but at the end of the day, it gets its position on the fridge for, you know, a tasteful amount of time before mom and dad can find an excuse to have to put it down. Like, I'm sorry, little Seamus, your drawing is beautiful, but Grandma's Christmas card just came in, and everyone knows that it's proper courtesy to put cards on the fridge or in a little box or something for, you know, an appropriate number of days, depending on the exact occasion, and, you know, and we have to honor that, because we don't know how many more Christmas cards from Grandma we're going to get. It's just the reality of aging and being an old woman, so your drawing now will be relegated to the shoebox in the basement so that we can say we kept it until the day comes when you move out to college and don't likely even remember that the box is there, let alone what's in it, and we can just kind of pitch that out when we're saying we're doing spring cleaning, and that's the natural way of things. It's how God intended for it, or something. It's one of the commandments. Thou shalt humor your child, even though they make garbage, and makes them feel good. But it is an important part of it, because that's how they practice making things until one day it's less garbagey, and, and then they can then eventually also have the complicated stuff that does end up being worth money. So it all kind of pans out for everyone in the end, and it's a good thing. You just have to go through the process of being crappy at things first. And so with that in mind, we're making this really complicated potion that we don't actually really know how much it will or won't be worth to people, and we'll never know, because we're just going to sit here and mix random crap together and then just put it immediately into making some weird salt thing and say that it was worth our time and hope that the salt is worth something. I'm trusting that the salt is worth something, considering we don't have really any clarity being given to us about exactly what it does do. We're just sort of being told that it's a goal that we should strive for. And that's, if that's honestly the way many of us probably go through our lives, just looking for someone to offer us direction, and we'll follow. Excuse me. That was big. I apologize. I sneezed the thought right out of my head. I don't know what I'm saying anymore, although if I'm being perfectly honest, I don't know what I was saying today at all. I'm in that kind of mood. I don't know what to do right now. All of these seem like they're going to be kind of close. I suppose I'll probably have to, do this one with a little bit of our salts, as we do, and we'll get there. I like to imagine this is what I would be like if I were actually a potion maker. Just kind of sitting here, working on random recipes, and just kind of babbling into the abyss, not knowing or caring if anyone would hear or like or be entertained by my words, or just me, just whatever it amounts to. I feel like this is probably what I would always be doing, just sitting here and rambling. It's what I do best. Saying nothing of particular consequence as I make insane-o potions that don't really do much except for just sit there now. So we got one. What did that take us? 13 minutes. We're gonna make 2 an episode here at this rate. So we got 1, 2, 1. After this episode, we'll have 1, 2, 3 more just making this salt. The highest quality entertainment. Honestly, it feels like something that would have been greenlit and organized by the people of Hollywood. Something evergreen and doesn't require much thought and can just mindlessly be approached for as long as they can make a few dollars out of it, and then they'll rest it and let it sit and gather dust in the archives for a little while, and then one day some guy will dig it up and say, hey, I've got an idea, and then they'll do a revival, and it'll be okay, or it'll either be okay and the name recognition will get it views, but then ultimately it probably won't be that great, like when they tried to do the 3D animation to revive the Rugrats or whatever happened with that, and it was largely pretty lifeless and people didn't care about it. Oh, look at this, I haven't harvested my stuff. What's wrong with me? I'm sitting here not harvesting everything. We have all this stuff that we could be using for our potions, on top of all this stuff that we already had for brewing our potions. But now we've got even more of it. This breaks up the monotony. See, I feel like that's a bit like a real life thing. That's a pretty good, analog to real life, where people would, like a potion maker would probably need a little something to break up the monotony, just going in and harvesting the mushrooms. And begs the question too, and the concept of this, it begs the question about why all of us got away from the concept of, homesteading, at least to the extent of being able to have our own collections of stuff, because even beyond just the survivor abilities, you know, the survival of humans in life. It just gives us something to do. Although I guess it does make sense when you consider the fact that somewhere along the line, some rich guy invented a factory and then started telling everybody that he needed them to work there for impossible hours, and that somehow that would benefit them, when in reality all they were then doing is working a crappier job to have money to buy the stuff that they would otherwise just have grown for themselves. And if we're not careful, we'll find ourselves calling for the return to hunter-gatherer days when life was simpler. Maybe not better, but certainly simpler. I mean, what could be more simple than, you know, like, Unga Badunga there got eaten by a lion, and so now we all have to go hunting because it has the taste for human blood, and that's not good because, you know, it'll just kind of keep hunting us because it figured out the dirty little secret that we're actually pretty helpless, defenseless little critters. Not entirely dissimilar from, you know, like a shrew or something. So now we have to go hunt it down and prove it wrong by killing it, but the irony is, of course, we'll prove it wrong, but it'll be dead, so it won't have any use for or reason to have learned the lesson. After all, it would have just been a lion that maybe even struggled with basic concepts like object permanence. If my cats are any indication of their ability to really track complex thoughts and everything, it's limited at best. I mean, they're bigger, maybe they've got more brain processes going on, but I've never lived inside the mind of a lion, so it's hard to know exactly what level of consciousness they're working with. At any rate, I'm gonna get this one. This one might be kind of close. We might have to use the one salt that keeps our potion alive. No, we're good. Alright, well, that was great. That was great stuff here. You'll forgive me for rambling and just talking about random things that are of no consequence to anyone, anywhere, for any reason, but as you can see, we're largely just working with these potions here that, you know, like, there's not, whoop, I'm throwing stuff, that don't require a whole lot of attention and skill. They're just a matter of kind of going through the motions, and what we're doing now is just going through the motions, working our way towards the eventual goal that this game has dictated and that I have so, you know, robotically decided is going to be the purpose of my life moving forward. I almost have had it, but we can still get it if we just do that. There we go. Okay, so Lovey Perfume, what's next? Now we need the Rejuvenation. Rejuvify. We gotta go down now and go to the golden apple, the golden hibiscus apple of life and liberty. It's the ultimate in rejuvenating the mind, body, and soul. Make a potion that's ultimately, if it's love, fragrance, and rejuvenation, it's basically just a green tea at this point in time, just with all kinds of weird things that, you know, have neither been tested in a lab or, you know, verified for their purity. Everyone's just kind of taking our word for it as the oceans experts here in this area, and whether that's good or bad is irrelevant to us, so long as we can have a functional business and, you know, put food on the table for the little whippersnappers that we may or may not theoretically have. Our backstory as a potion maker isn't exceptionally fleshed out in this game. It's just sort of taken for granted that we're a good person by the potions that we decide to make. The fact that I refused the potions for all the people being, you know, violent and aggressive towards one another. And there's, you know, the potions of the guys that are like, hey, there's a guard over there, can you help me kill him? And at first I didn't realize that it had an impact on the number and types of people that came to me. Do you remember that all the way back when? I remember the days back in the early days of me playing Potion Craft when I didn't know what the crap I was doing and largely just kind of accepted every job. Back in episode 20, all those hours and days and weeks and months ago. It's wild to think that we've been playing this game as long as we have. It's a fun game. I'm not upset about the amount of life I've spent playing this game, but it is a fascinating thing to think about. It's beautiful when a game has longevity like this. It gives you an excuse to keep playing it. Not all games do that. They only rely on the carnal, vicarious need to yell at small preteens as they scream at you over multiplayer games, yelling obscenities that they probably should not know, let alone use. And now we have to go all the way, we have to go up to the Cupid potion up here. It's so far away. Okay, well, we're gonna have to get up there, so I guess we'll just work our way back towards center and then we'll go up. This is gonna be a long haul, ladies and gentlemen. This is the way of all potion making. But alas, this is a game that, just with the nature of the game, finds a way to convince me to keep going. Which, of course, this one works particularly well for a guy like me, a guy who likes checklists to a potentially obsessive level. Is it healthy? It's irrelevant. It's what I do with my time, and the fun thing is, because it's my free time and I'm not trying to, pay the bills with this, I can largely do what I want, so, feel free to make fun of me all you want, but the joke's on you. I'm sitting here enjoying my free time. And what are you doing? Probably doing the same thing if you're just, here watching me do this. That would make sense. I would hope that's the situation, that you're not sitting here watching me do something when you, are not enjoying the process of watching me do something. That would be silly and perhaps a little sad. So don't do that. Get ourselves a bit closer here. And I know I'm using up some of my resources by doing this, but we can always get more. They'll grow back, and this way we can just not have to worry about all the complicated maneuvers of trying to go around. But now this one makes a lot of sense. We just do this one, and then we can potion our way back up. It's a good thing that these particular potions, this stage of the game, doesn't require me to be attentive about what specific ingredients and stuff I use. Because now we're really just kind of in the thick of trying to get places. We can do one of these. We have so many of them. We have so many plants and resources. We can largely just make our way up wherever we need to go. It's all an act of tedium. Where's that one? Oh, that comes from there. Yeah, I didn't spend a whole lot of time mapping out all these whirlpools. I suppose they probably could have been helpful in some regards, but alas, we didn't do it, and at this point, I just don't know that I see a strong reason to continue to do it, or to start doing it, or whatever. Ay vey. The arrows. The boom bloom of exploding arrows. These are all so close, but yet not quite. I mean, I guess I can use 8 million of these. I have like 200 of them. There's so many of them. Some of these plants, I have so many of each of the resources. It's a great thing. It's a good problem to have. Having too much stuff to... I'm suffering from success. As every billionaire knows, there comes a time when your success outweighs your enjoyment of life, and you must reconsider exactly what it is you're living for. And most billionaires land on the next logical conclusion, which is that you adjust your purpose of living so that your purpose of living stops being to find your own success and starts being to find ways to limit the success of others, so that way your success continues to mean something by comparison, even though you can no longer get the joys and thrills of success on your own, because once you have your first $100 million, what's the next one comparatively? Not much. And obviously the lesson to take from that is that we must stop other people, so that way it can still kind of seem special, even though we are dead inside now. It's the proper way of things, and the sooner anyone at all comes to understand that, the sooner they can find the proper type of happiness that can only come from being the haves and stopping the have-nots from joining your exclusive club. This is the way, and we all know it, and there's no reason to fight it or argue against it, because if you do, we'll just find some way to disenfranchise you and, teach you what for or something, I guess. Anyways, if anyone's got a spare $1 million lying around, hit me up. I'll take it. Okay, I want to just go down. If I go down... Dang it, all these ingredients. If we do... I mean, I guess we could just do one of these. It's fine. I've got so many of them. We'll just do that and not have to worry about stuff. I like that the libido one is in that particular shape of stuff. I'm not going to further describe it. We'll just leave the innuendo hanging there. It's when they're best. Jokes are best when unexplained. Because then they can remain exclusive and other people cannot give them. It's like the social and communication version of exactly what we're talking about with the millions. If I can have the point of the joke or have the humor of the joke and extract it and keep it from being something that other people get, then that puts me ahead. And that is if that's not what gives us a happy life, then I suppose we're all doomed to an eternity of being depressed. So, with like no time left, we don't have enough time to really do much of another potion. We'll just go and sleep and just get some commerce going here, so we can get some money and keep doing stuff. We're just trying to fill our time. And you might be thinking, how am I supposed to find your videos entertaining if you're acting all beleaguered and tired and while making them? And the answer is because you and I both know that misery is humorous to those watching it. That's why the Germans invented an entire word for it. Because A, they're cruel, horrible, awful people, and B, they're cruel, horrible, awful people who recognize that even normal people sometimes have cruel, horrible, awful moods and will enjoy sharing such cruel, horrible, awful moods, and that they really needed a word for it. And honestly, it's on the rest of us that we haven't been able to come up with quite such an elegant solution to this linguistic challenge of trying to properly describe what it feels like when other people are, you know, in emotional or physical pain. All right, what do you have? You just have... I don't need papers. Get out of here, you scruffy man. Hello, alchemist. I've got a problem. My foos is not Rhode-Eyeing enough. Accidentally kicked a hen in the village and everyone's up in arms against me there now. You should be dressed like Zelda. At least the chickens have not come after you themselves. Accidentally kicked a hen. Well, yeah, so there I was, heading to the tavern after a quest, not bothering anyone, and I feel like some kind of stone underfoot, so I kick it. And it turns out that the stone is soft, has wings, and clucks very loudly. One of the locals noticed this and raised an alarm. Apparently, I assaulted a hen. They even called the guard. I had to get right out of there so I wouldn't get into a fight. Just tell me, who is it that allows chickens to wander around wherever they want? There are chicken coops or enclosures for that? Depends on what period in history we're talking about, and also your locale. There's a lot of people that just kind of do that stuff. Let's see, what do you need? Fix your relationship with the visitors. So, well, what if we did... Where's the charm one? We could do the libido, but I feel like you need to charm them before that one becomes handy. So let's go ahead and haggle for that one. Mr. Rhoda. Yeah, you should have learned your lesson from Link, the kid who attacked chickens and then got assaulted by said chickens in return. At least in that situation, the chickens knew how to handle their own business rather than going and crying to their neighbors and stuff. Hey, listen, there's a crazed fish in the area. A nickel every time that happened. All the fishermen know it. As soon as it takes the bait, it goes mad and swims like hell. Watch your language, sir. No line can hold it. I want to soak my bait in a potion that will slow the fish down. Please help. Okay, that's boring. You sit there farting around, idly staring at your rod and swatting at mosquitoes. I like tracking and catching extraordinary fish. Each one requires a unique approach and special bait. Only experienced fishermen can catch them. Bizarre fish catch a higher price too. You should make a show about it. You should make a show about catching all of the biggest fish and stuff there. Just be careful, because eventually you'll catch all of them and work yourself out of a job. And for those of you not catching the reference, it's an actual thing that happened with the River Monsters guys. They had an incredible show where they caught all the biggest fish in like every river in the world, and eventually they caught all of them, and there wasn't anything new for them to do, so they worked themselves out of a job. It was like the real life version of having your task list in a video game and you beat everything in the video game. Makes me stronger, faster, and more agile. It needs the potion of Daft Punk. Stronger, faster, and more agile. That's okay. So wait, if you want like all of those, does that mean you want me to make a complicated potion? Like, because if we just do, well, hey, okay, if you'll just take that, that's fine. I'm gonna say, like, if you're requiring that we make a potion that's complicated, well, I've got a salt that I'll sell to you eventually. It'll probably have all those things in there. But my life could use a few drops of luck. Pay extra if the potion has some suitable additional properties. Well, you're not gonna pay me extra because I just have the potion of luck right here, and that's already worth $1,300. So I'm just gonna go ahead and take the cash from you, and we'll call it good. And you can take your rainbow discussions and pay me even more, and then we'll call it good, Lady Weather Lady. Yeah, sell it for 2,000. Okay, well, it's a half hour now, so I think it's time for me to say thank you for joining me. I love and appreciate every single one of you. There's probably a lot of useless bits of advice that I've given in this one, so frankly, best advice this time, go back and listen to this all over again and just pick your poison. That's I've given you everything that I have, and now it's time for you to just learn the lesson and internalize something. And if none of those suit your fancy, then eat healthier. That's advice. You can take that one. Everyone should do that. There you go. Anyways, love you. Bye. Man, I never really crawled out of that whole monotone pit that time, didn't I? Just kind of kept on going with it. Even now, we're still going with it. I fell into the character and just stuck with it. And I suppose sometimes you just have days like that. You slip into something, and then it's like, well, these are the pair of emotional pants that I'm wearing today, and it would honestly be more work to slip them off and change it to something else, even though there's clearly some sort of burr in the seam of the pants that's kind of poking at my leg and giving me a bit of a rash or something. I honestly just can't be bothered, and that's when the concept of the emotional pants and the physical pants just kind of merge into one, and I honestly don't know what I'm talking about anymore, so I think I'm just going to cut it off.